Again. Welcome to this meeting of the Redesign Board. This meeting will be recorded and uploaded to the Council's YouTube channel and will be available for future viewing. Standard rules of engagement apply. If you wish to speak, then please raise your hand one way or another, either electronically or physically. Item 1 on the agenda is apologies for absence. Do we have any apologies?
Chair, I've got apologies from David Fraser, who has been substituted by Councillor Reid, and apologies from Councillor Henry as well.
So that's apologies from Councillor Fraser and Councillor Henry. Any further apologies? Okay. Would you like to call roll?
Just let me know here, please. Councillor Beard.
Present.
Councillor Boyd.
Good, Councillor Boyd is there.
Councillor Brennan.
That's all.
Thank you.
Present.
And Councillor Campbell Sinclair.
Doesn't appear like.
Councillor Christie.
Online.
So,
Councillor Reid is here. Councillor Green. Apology. Councillor Jarvie.
Afternoon, present.
Present.
Is that other president from Councillor Green?
I think it
yes.
was.
Yes. Oh, just
Thank
present.
you. Thank you. Councillor Jones.
I think so.
Councillor Lowe. Councillor Mackenzie.
Yep.
Councillor McIntosh.
Yes.
Councillor McPherson.
Yes, yeah.
On screen, thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Monroe.
Present.
Councillor Robertson.
Present.
Councillor Savers. Thank you. And also Caroline Stewart from GMB. And apologies from John Gibson.
Okay. Are there any declarations of interest?
No.
Nobody? Okay, thank you. Before we start, members, I'd like to introduce you all to Caroline Stewart, who's the new GMB member of the Redesign Board.
Hi.
Caroline, welcome.
Thank you.
This, strange as though it may seem, is one of the most important meetings that the Council has during its period. And it's been the way for members, staff and unions to get together to discuss things in a sensible fashion. So I hope you'll contribute in the future. Thank you. Members, minutes of the meetings. Does anyone have a problem with the minutes of the meeting?
Nope.
No. So I'm looking for a second. Okay. Item 4 on your agenda, members, is the work programme update. John?
Thank you, convener. So, as usual, it's the. I'll give a quick introduction to the report, and we have various officers here to answer questions if there arise. So, first point to make actually in section 4, the council delivery plan, which obviously you'll all be aware of. We're doing some work at the moment just to look at alignments of projects to the redesign board. So we'll be coming back at hopefully to the next board with a bit more of an overview of how the delivery plan projects align to the Rationalisation board. So going into the individual projects, asset management is covered separately on the agenda. So looking at the roads redesign, to be aware there was a workshop held on the 17th of April. Still waiting for actions coming out of that to be reported. Generally, what we are getting to the point with the roads redesign. This is the first stage of a roads redesign where a number of the actions there are coming to a close, and work underway at the moment looking at what the next phase of that redesign work is going to look like. And again, that is included as one of the work streams in the delivery plan. So there will be more detail of what the scope of that second stage is going to take in due course. Moving on to the in-house bus operations. So a report did go to the E&I committee beginning of May, which was covering the first year of operations, and what was included in the report here are some of the highlights that went to that committee. And I think it speaks for itself really. Very good success from a financial point of view. I won't repeat what it says in there, but I think generally a very good news position. Regarding the software for managing public transport, that has now got through procurement stage, and it's really just the team actually decide exactly how it's going to operate for implementing that. The My Council programme, as reported previously, the customer contact strategy and the various standards and approach implementation for that strategy is being worked up at the moment, and is expected to be in council in September this year. The end-to-end customer journey, where the focus has been on housing repairs so far to date. That work on the housing repairs review is nearing completion. We're expecting to see results of that in June, but I think it's mentioned at a previous meeting that the Redesign Board producing initial very good improvements in the access and the number of repair visits that have happened successfully. So in other words, we've had more less lost appointments. We've also had an increase in customer satisfaction. So more detail will come once that review is finished in June. The next stage of that end-to-end customer journey is going to be looking at secure portal for customers. There's going to be a lot of focus on secure validation of citizens, so that with the intention that they come into a single place on the council website, that you know who they are, that they can access a range of council services in one place. So there's quite a bit of work which is about to kick off looking at that. Customer contact methods. The focus now is going to be on the redesign of the website. Work is just kicking off with the supplier Jadu in starting that. In terms of the rollout of new telephony, that's going to plan. We're now working through the school estate. That's expected to finish by August. Finally, then, trades framework. There isn't any update for the meeting at this point. We did see the project manager move on to a new role, so I think we've got someone else lined up to do that now. But again, this is part of the wider asset management portfolio and the delivery plan. So it may be picked up when we get onto that item if there are any questions. And then the last item, then, employability, is a separate item on the agenda. So,
anyone have any questions or points you want to raise? Angela.
Can I ask about the website for the My Council? I think, was it Councillor John Grafton raised a committee about people with autism or other you know, with interacting with it. And I wondered too about the colours and how it's going to be laid out so that maybe people with sight difficulties or that can interact with the website.
I can answer that. Well, one of the key reasons why we have to do a major review of the website is that it doesn't meet modern accessibility standards. It really hasn't changed in that respect for the last 10 years. So a key part of the work is ensuring that it meets modern standards.
Thank you.
And that's why it is more than just a quick bit of work. That's one of the aspects that's taken into account. I don't know if you want to comment further.
I think Alison was
Thank you. To reassure you, and I understand that was raised at committee, and you picked that up after the session. There's an impact assessment that will be undertaken as part of the development of the process. So, as John has said, part of the reason that we're moving to the new platform as well is accessibility requirements, but it's also looking at accessibility in that much broader sphere. So the impact assessment will think about the different elements and the different needs of different groups of customers as part of that. So it will be embedded as part of that process, initial screening to consider that, and then followed right the way through the web design and development process. So definitely picking up those, but it's really important that we think about the different needs of our customers and reflect that as we're designing the process.
And do you still have to set up an ID number when you go on and set up the?
That's technical.
You know, you've got to kind of look as if you've got an account.
So it won't be essential, but it is one of the things that we are looking to introduce is a secure customer portal. There are benefits in citizens having an account. It means that if we've authenticated who they are, that we can give them access to personalised information, but also more specific personal information. So, for instance, related to their council tax bill, or so they can track the status of any applications going through. Clearly, to allow access to that sort of information, we have to guarantee we know who the person is. So that account side of things is a key part of the website development. However, you won't need to have an account to access the basic information, and also there will be some services where it doesn't matter. We don't need to authenticate who you are. It will depend on the level of detail that people want to get into and the services they require.
Okay.
Awesome.
Just to add to that, I mean, in addition to that, it's also thinking about the way that our customers contact us in different ways, and the fact that, you know, for some people who don't want to come in via the website or close an account, they want to come in either via the phone or into a service point directly. So it's thinking about still that understanding, and I know board members have mentioned this many times, the importance of reflecting the fact that our customers have a range of different needs and they want to come in and transact with us in different ways, and it's ensuring that we have that range.
Excuse me. It's a point I made at the last council in terms of our website, and it's quite a monolingual website, and I think we're going to a new platform, and to reflect our commitment to Gaelic language, our new Gaelic language plan was accepted at the beginning of the month by Board of Gaelic. So just I think Gaelic has a place in the new platform, just to reflect our responsibilities and, you know, and our 8% Gaelic skilled people in Highland. So just a point.
Chris.
Thank you, convener, for letting me in. I just wanted to ask about 8.4. Apologies if I missed something, as there was a lot of rusting of papers, but I wonder, in relation to the transport project, what measures are being taken?
Give me a second, Chris. Andrew, because you're sitting next to the microphone and you rush on your papers, they can't hear a thing. So, sorry, Chris, continue.
No problem, thanks. Yeah, what measures are being taken to reduce the significant risks to the delivery of project in 8.4 following the failure to fill the project officer post? Are staff being redeployed or work being redistributed, or what are the plans to secure the delivery? Thanks.
I don't think we have anyone from.
Malcolm has to take a call, unfortunately. Yeah.
Okay, Chris, we'll get you an answer to that offline because the relevant person isn't here for the moment. So,
Okay, thanks.
Trish.
Yeah, back to the website again. I had to help somebody to apply for a service and they had an account, but I would do hope that the new service is going to be a lot more intuitive because lots of different things come up except for the one you're looking for. And it's quite trying to get through to where you need to be. So let's hope for that when you do the Google. Thank you.
Yeah, I think some of us have gone into the habit of just using Google instead. So
Yeah, it's easier.
search facility, I think, really helps with this. Oh, that's a massive improvement made on us.
I'd say on from that, Trish, if you're trying to pay school meals, it's such a long process. You know, we're used to kind of one-click payments and could be probably 9 steps to finally get to that point. So that's something that needs to, you know.
Yeah, you ever tried to pay for a brown bin?
Right. We're in a council meeting here, guys. So this is not a coffee chat. So, no other questions? Can we agree the recommendation? You're just asked to note the work programme update. Item 5 on your agenda is employability, and I have our expert in employability, Andy McCann. So, Andy.
Okay, thank you. Good afternoon, members. At the last meeting, you asked that I come along and give more details about the employability review and how it's represented within the workforce for the future portfolio as part of the delivery plan. So hopefully Section 5 really sets it out quite simply. Employability review is included as a specific project. It sits within the adult employability work stream within that. So again, it's clearly a piece of work to be done. Maybe just a few comments around that. The work undertaken to date, the findings that were made in that particular external review, yes, they were done in the context of a much narrower definition around employability. It was a definition that really was driven by a Scottish Government, UK Government funding. So what we've done though is that the information that comes along from that review does have a direct bearing across to the wider portfolio of work. I use the word portfolio rather than necessarily work stream because in reality, once you start to dig into the workforce for the future portfolio, it's very difficult to see any one project in isolation, right? There's a lot of interdependencies there. So I'll maybe just take 2 examples. The employability review touched on the need for an overarching brand. It was a very confusing landscape out there, how you access employability services and so forth. A work-life brand has been developed and at the moment that's been shaped around for adults who are out of work. But what we'll do as we roll that forward in the portfolio is it will also reach across to the schools, to High Hopes, and actually to employers and the employer's charter. So there's the recommendation in one study which will be carried us through across. The other example I'm just giving, there was a particular one around pre-employability support for school pupils. I think once you're leaving school, a very positive destination. So again, there's an argument there around the need for a seamless service across the piece. At the moment, we have separate services. We have what happens in schools, they stop, they refer through, and then they go on to adult. So again, there's a recommendation which will reach across for the portfolio. So, Chair, really, I think having this opportunity now to pick up this work and including it within the workforce for the future, I think gives us a greater push around, gives a better reach of what we can achieve with it, and also obviously being part of the delivery plan gives us that cross-service focus and priorities. So happy to take questions.
Any questions, members?
No.
I think you've got a wee lightly to do. Thanks very much.
Okay, cheers.
You're asked to note the findings of the employability review. So can you do that, please?
Agreed.
Item 6 on your agenda is asset rationalisation programme, and we have a duo. So.
Yeah.
Would I be correct in assuming that this could be your last?
It is 2 hours time, hopefully I'm down. So I think it was all right with you. You're looking so joyful and smiling. It's the sadness. I'll let Robert lead on this and I'm happy to make any comments.
But with respect to the sadness, I think we're sorry to see you go.
Thank you, that's very kind of you.
I've always been a big supporter of the Redesign Board and I hope that will continue.
Thank you, and thanks to all the members that have been in touch actually over the recent couple of days. It's very much appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you. No pressure. Yep. I think that the report's fairly self-explanatory, following similar themes to previous ones. A couple of key things, I think, in section 4, the Highland Investment Plan. The report obviously was approved at the last council meeting. That's quite a wide-ranging report. It will have an impact on some of the work streams that are already underway or about to be launched. So we are looking at those, what the impact will be. We've already had some discussion with members. I think Dingwall's a good example where we've been working on maybe different work streams, looking at schools, offices, depots. So I think all of that's got to come together now. So we'll be rolling that out across the whole of the islands, looking at taking a wider approach, a longer term approach. And in terms of the budget savings, 6.6 sets out the targets for the next 3 financial years, so a 3-year target to achieve. I think it's worth noting that in 24-25 it's a reduced figure, which kind of reflects what we've been reporting, that we're always playing catch up. I think within a year you've got certain targets to meet, but quite often don't meet the full target during that year. So I think the reduced figure in 24-25 gives us a bit of a chance to catch up and then taking forward to meet those savings in the future. So happy to take any questions. Thank you.
Members, any questions? Carl.
Thank you, Chair. Just in terms of the Portree Place demonstrator project, and it's been on quite a few reports now. I just wonder if there are, Robert or Mark, are there any milestones or a time scale for, and any idea of interaction with other agencies? It's obviously going to co-locate important local agencies. So just any information that would be good. Yep, thank you. Yes, yes, it's we've been working on this for quite a while now. I think it's quite a complex one where we've got a limited amount of money to do something and have an impact. But obviously longer term, if we're to do everything within the sphere, which we understand it, it's going to cost a lot more. So it's getting that balance between the money we've got, using it best, but also looking at any opportunities for the future. So it's taken us a bit longer to get to the point where we've got a scheme that's ready to go. We're just about there. We do have a project board set up, which we'll be reporting to very soon, and then possibly some further engagement with the more members in the board business meeting or the committee. So I think we'll be back in touch fairly soon to give you the outcome of the work we have today and the next steps are. HIE was certainly part of that board as well, and there are other users that we've been talking to. So again, we're looking to try and pull all that together and come back to you in due course. Thanks, Roy.
Any further questions, members?
Just going by Dingwall office rationalisation saga, and I say that because it must be at least 15 years that's been going on. Is there going to be any checks to see what the hold-ups are and how quickly we can process any rationalisation, and also working with third sector partners, because we've talked about that before? There's opportunities there, especially when it comes to paying, rates. How is that all going to come back through the Redesign Board to be monitored, or how is that the progress going to be checked? Because I know as a ward member for Dingwall, when we've had yourself and Mark and others along for updates, sometimes it takes a long time to get an update or to progress some of the movement. And how is that going to be communicated to the services involved?
Just on one particular thing, we agreed some time ago in the Redesign Board that when we ask for something delivered, then in the future a report will come back to us and tell us, how it's been progressing. Although we won't be responsible for its delivery.
The service is responsible.
Robert.
Well, I suppose the wider point is, yes, sometimes the pace of change has been a little bit challenging, but we have seen some of that change start to happen. So if you think about county buildings and the use of the NHS, I suppose that's us testing co-location with other public sector partners in that area. But one of the other things I think that will make a substantial difference is that part of the challenge around this has been, how do we invest in other locations in order to create the capacity for people then to be rationalised out of other spaces and into? And whilst some of that was available pre the investment plan, actually the investment plan is one of the main key ways in which we'll leverage in additional money so that we can start to think about other locations for people to be moved to as part of that community pod approach, if you like. So that will substantially help in us being able to move people more quickly than we would have liked. And I think, the other side of this is the two sort of place-based planning approaches that we're looking to do, particularly around Thurso and Dingwall, were chosen for 2 reasons, and they are the first of what will hopefully be many approaches. Thurso is basically a school failed on us, and that is something that we have to fix and set opportunity for. But the reason why we looked at Dingwall in particular is because we had additional up-to-date information about the condition of Dingwall primary, and we were aware from a number of conversations you and I have had, indeed Graham and other local members, that there was a need to do something a bit more than just say we've got a building and we need to close it and invest in it. What happens next? And say, well, do you know what, that approach isn't taken, so we need to. So let's look at it as a whole place-based approach. So, I mean, I share those frustrations. I think we've had a number of honest conversations around that. But actually, the investment programme does allow us to then move that forward at a pace and use it as a sort of an exemplar of a place-based approach to how we deal with rationalisation, but also how we invest in key assets in the future. Do you want to add to that?
Yeah, thank you. I think a key lesson learned from the work we've done in Rainbow is that we have to make decisions in isolation. I think looking back, 1 or 2 were made in isolation, so we've had to almost unpick those. I think the wider strategic approach that we're going to be taking that's set out in the investment plan is the correct one. Looking at all assets, taking that longer term view, coming up with the best solutions for it. Not just one particular building or one particular
service.
The whole time, the whole application.
Yeah.
Thank you, Chair. I'm not a member, but I have a question to ask. 6.4, I noticed in other locations that there's some work to be done in Loch Harbour, and a meeting with the ward members in Loch Harbour will take place in June. But I have already noticed some changes in the building at the Charles Kennedy building, like room redesign that used to be used for conferences turned into an office. So why is the work starting before the consultation?
Just simply because from time to time there needs to change the use of existing facilities for operational purposes. It's not necessarily directly linked into what the future will look like, and sometimes that has to happen at very short notice. But if that's creating particular difficulties in using that building for members of other services, please do let us know, because we certainly don't want the law of unintended consequences to kick in the meantime.
Okay.
Yeah, I think there's been a particular issue at the Gallagale building next to the private high school, where there was some storm damage and we had to gate the building. So as a sort of interim measure, some staff relocated to Charles Kennedy House, others are looking at other locations. It's not a permanent solution as such, but I think it's maybe opened certain people's eyes to operating differently, how they could co-locate with Charles Kennedy. So I think that's what we're going to come back to board members on, is kind of where we've got to with that, what the next stages are, what our thoughts are, and then take it forward from there.
Thank you very much. Okay. Any follow-up questions, members? No. Can we give you recommendations then, please? Thank you all very much for your time. Very short meeting today. This is not normal, but it's probably caused by Mark's demise. Thank you all. Thanks.